Hello, this is Sheila with Stamping Wishes. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today we'll be making a very simple card, just very quick and easy, but I am using one of the new colors for this upcoming catalog, which is this beautiful rose color that's here. I also used the Blackberry Bliss with it, and then the shimmery white. So as you can see, I colored some of the little dots, the White Perfect accents, to use along the side here, just a simple tear technique, and then the inside. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, you're going to need 2 pieces of the shimmery white, and they are cut at 3 3/4 by 5. You'll need 2 of the rose, and let me get my book. It's Roco Rose. I couldn't think of it for a second there. So anyway, this is the color there. All right, and then you're going to need 1 piece of the Blackberry Bliss, and I cut it at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and we're going to fold it in half, which is your 4 1/4, and give it a quick burnish here for our fold. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and stamp real quick. I'm using the Golden Afternoon. This one's going to be a sad one to see it retire, but it will definitely remain in my retired stamps that I do keep. I really love the simplicity of it, and yet it has an elegant look to it. So, and I love the fonts that they used in this one. So we're going to be using that stamp set. I've gone ahead and set up, and we're going to use Blackberry Bliss color. So it's just going to be real quick stamping, and then we tear it and put it together. So I've set up 2 of my templates. This one here is set up for the inside. This one here is set up for the outside. So we're going to go ahead and stamp the outside first, and then set it aside and let it be drying. And then as we're tearing that, we'll let the inside dry a little bit, because this color is a dark color, and it does seem to want to get kind of clogged up into the paper a little bit, and then it wants to smear if it hasn't dried real well. So let's go ahead and make sure we give it a good drying. So we're going to come over here and just stamp up these 2 stamps. I should have them hopefully in position to just come over here. If you notice, I had a little notch marks here and down at the bottom that I try and reuse each time, especially when I've set up some stamps to stamp on it. So let's go ahead and do that, and we'll press down. Make sure we get a good transfer of the ink. Give it a good 10 seconds. And then lift it and see if we need to do any more. And see, I didn't put enough pressure there or enough ink. So we're going to go ahead and do just the top of the tree, because the rest of it doesn't seem to be needing anything. So we'll just do that area of it and put pressure right where it didn't seem to want to transfer ink to. Whoops. Very pretty. All right, so now let's go ahead, while we're doing this, like I said, we're going to set this one aside, and let's bring our inside piece in. And meanwhile, let me kind of wipe off the ink of this so that I don't get it all over everything or make a mistake and drop part of my card onto it. So I like to kind of clean up as I go. All right, so let's go ahead and line this one up again, that one corner up there, and make sure that it's lined up on your line. And we can bring it down just a tad. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and stamp up again the ink onto our stamps that are already there, and we're going to lay them down and press firmly. Again, allow that 10 seconds. Beautiful. Don't you just love that font? I'm in love with it. So let's go ahead and put our ink away. I think we're done with everything we need to do with the ink. And then we're going to set this aside for a little bit to dry while we start tearing on the other one. So again, let me kind of wipe off those stamps so that I don't close it up with that ink on it. Okay. All right, we'll set this aside now. We shouldn't need it anymore. Then I'm going to bring back in the one piece of the Roca Rose and our front. And so what I did, I'll bring the other one in so you can kind of see it. It's kind of an old technique that we used to use a lot back when I first started with Stampin' Up! Many years ago, which was the tearing. But I love to turn to that every so often when I'm wanting to get kind of just a simple but rustic look, I guess you'd say, is the way I look at it. When you're tearing, you want to be sure that you're tearing towards you so that you get that ridge of paper that's tearing facing up, okay? And then what I do after I tear my first section out, then I want to line it up. And you can go ahead and glue it on it this time if you want to, which I think we will so it doesn't move on us. And that will give you an idea of where you're going to start tearing on your other piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and remember, when you're using this liquid glue, a little bit goes a long way. If you get too much on it, your project is going to have a wet feel to it. And oftentimes you'll get lumps and bumps and stuff, but when you do it real thin like that, it works so much better. So here we're going to start up here, and again, as I mentioned, you want to tear towards you. So I kind of come as close to the other tear as I can without getting underneath it, like I'm just about ready to do if I'm not careful. Okay. Perfect. And I'm going to take this ridge here off. I don't like that little piece sticking up like that. I want to bring it all the way through. So there we are. We have our piece ready to adhere onto the front, and then we will use some little accents up in there. Okay. And you can set this wherever you need to set it. I've got some ink on my finger, so let's get that off. You can set it up more this way and give it a bigger, wider stance on the bottom if you'd like, or you can bring it all the way down here and give this a complete opening. So it's whatever you want to do. Again, this Blackberry Bliss ink is having a tendency to smear a little bit and probably needed to set a little bit longer, and if it wasn't for the filming, I would have let it set longer before I started. A lot of times when I do these cards, I'll do several of them, so I have them in my stash for when I need them, and so they have plenty of time to dry in between. So we've set that up there. Now we'll put our embellishments on last, is the way I like to make my cards. So now we're ready just to come in on the inside, and if you wanted to, you could even give some tearing ridge on this, maybe on this side here, just to give it a different look, but I decided to leave it like it is. I have plenty of room to write to whoever I'm sending the card to, so I wanted to leave mine solid in there. Okay, but as you can see how quick this card is coming together, and to me the colors are just gorgeous together. I was real excited when I saw this Dusty Rose color come back from years ago when I was much younger. That was a popular color with us. So okay, let's go ahead and put a little bit more here. All right. And I'm trying to use in most of my cards for these last week or so, a lot of the older or retiring stamps. I shouldn't say older, but retiring stamps, so that you don't miss out if there's a stamp set you see used that you may not have thought about before, that you have time to get it, hopefully, if it hasn't already sold out. So beautiful. That's in our inside. So now all we need to do is, I have started coloring on this. I only put one coat. I felt like using the light blackberry kept it from getting too dark, because obviously with using Blackberry Bliss, the darker, we might get too close to the color of the card, and then they wouldn't show quite as much. Let's go to the smaller one, see if I can get a little bit more depth of color. And then after I did this, I kind of let it set for a second. And then I came back with some Wink of Stella, because I don't know if you can see it or not, but by doing it, I'm going to bring this up. By doing it, it gave me a shimmer and kind of gave a marbleizing look to it. I thought it was real pretty. So we're going to try and duplicate that here. And let's go ahead and put our Wink of Stella on it. And I'm just kind of tapping onto it. And it will leave some color on it, so you can just wipe it off on another cloth, or like I just did on my hand. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these out. And since we've kind of gone a little bit further, I'm going to bring this not quite at the angle I did on the other one. And yes, if I was using my other tool, it would probably work, but I'm so accustomed to my piercing tool. That was one that I just really hate to see retire, because I do use it a lot. And the new tool, it's just a matter of getting used to something different that you've used for so many years. But there we go. And if you want to, I'm going to just color a little bit more depth into it. Give it kind of that swirl effect. I like that marbleizing with it. It looks really pretty. All right, so now we're finished with our card, and as you can see, it was very quick, very easy, simple, but at the same token, it's an elegant card that anybody would love to have. And what I'll do for an envelope is I'll use the smaller tree stamp here in the corner, so that'll complete my set of envelopes and cards. All right, so that's it for today. Until next time, happy stamping and God bless.